Are you ready for a little bonus episode? Over the last couple of weeks, I've been running 2 new masterclasses, one which is today's masterclass bonus, as I dive into why your scalable offer isn't selling and basically what to do about it. And I'm going to share with you the 3 strategic shifts that you need to make in order to have your scalable offer selling like hotcakes and attracting the dream clients that you really want to work with. All right, lovely. Let's dive into the masterclass. Grab a pen and paper because you will absolutely want to take notes for this. Welcome to the Next Level Life podcast with Christine Corcoran. This podcast is made for the powerhouse businesswomen who are ready to ignite their fullest potential. This is where we will dive deep into the mindset breakthroughs and sprinkle in some kick up the butt motivation so you can scale your business with confidence and clarity. Whether you're craving more income, impact, or inspiration, this podcast will be your ultimate resource for all things next level. Listen in as we have authentic conversations with game-changing female entrepreneurs as we reveal the secrets of what it takes to rise and thrive. So go ahead, ignite your inner fire, and let's get you taking massive aligned action. Are you ready to elevate? Let's go. All right, so 6-week group coaching about to promote. Awesome. Oh, this is going to be so good for you, Grace, right before you go into promotion. Amazing. And that's specifically for photographers, right? Is that for photographers? I'd love to know. Yeah, perfect. Amazing. So yeah, if everyone would love to pop into the chat what you're currently, and even if you have an idea of one, if you don't have one just yet, that's okay as well. So I'd love for you to jump into the chat and let me know what it is that you currently are working on. So Michelle said, trying to scale my one-to-one coaching program. Amazing. Amazing. And then Grace said, developing an 8-week financial literacy program for women in business. Amazing. So good. Incredible. All right. So anyone else that's jumping in, feel free to jump into the chat. There's multiple reasons why I ask you to do this. One, obviously want to get to know your business and want to make sure that as I'm sharing today, it's going to support you. And that way I can really weave in some suggestions or some relatable topics that'll actually support you. And secondly, you don't know where your next ideal client is going to come from. So this person could be in the room right now and need your services. So we have to make sure that we're taking every visibility opportunity available, right? And that starts right here. So put your business name in there. If you have a specific business name, pop it in there, right? Otherwise, how else are you going to get in front of more and more people? This is a great opportunity to do so. Tam said, I would really like to scale to corporate for employee financial literacy programs. Love that. Financial coach. Yes, Sense and Solutions. That's right. And yes, amazing. Perfect. Yeah, pop your Instagram handle in there. That's awesome, Grace. Amazing. All right. Let's dive in. So to get a bit of a feel for the room, with your scalable offer, where do you feel you're currently at? Are you A, I'm still working on it, so still building it out? Or are you B, I'm ready to launch my scalable offer and need a strategy? Or are you C, I've already launched and it's not really selling the way that I would hope it would, and so I'm working on the scalability of it, the sales side of it. So I've got a couple of A's. Okay, cool, still working on it. Michelle said, working with mums in business to simplify and streamline systems and processes so they don't have to be working all the time. Hallelujah to that. Amazing. So A, yep, and C, yep. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So grab a pen and paper if you haven't got one just yet, because there's going to be lots to cover in today's session. And for those of you who I've never met before, so nice to have you here. And if you don't know much about me, this is me. My name is Christine Corcoran. I'm a high ticket sales strategist and business mindset coach. I'm a #1 best-selling author of my brand new book, and you can see it here behind me, Turn Imposter Syndrome into Your Superpower. I'm also a certified coach in NLP, hypnosis and branding, human behavior, and leadership and executive coaching. The reason why I share that with you is because the human behavior side I apply to my sales, and I have 6.5 years in corporate sales and business development that helps support me in teaching sales. So there is so much in my background that I weave through everything that I do with my coaching, but that I've also upskilled my coaching, because this is really about getting to the crutch of what's holding you back, because scalability or growing your business is just as much a mindset game as it is a strategy game, as most of you would know. So I'm going to weave all of it in today, the sales psychology, the human behavior, elements of the mindset, but we're really focusing on the strategy side of things today. So here's what we're going to cover. Why your scalable offer isn't converting, even if the content is solid. 2, the 3 strategic shifts quietly successful women are using to turn not selling into sold out. What to focus on now and what to let go of so you can basically focus on what really matters right now. how to position and sell your offer in a way that feels good and actually converts. And lastly, why this isn't just about sales, it's about you stepping into your next level CEO. Because when it comes to scaling, it's much about who you're being and who you're embodying as it is what you're doing. Okay. So, but my plan for you today, by the end of today's masterclass, is that you'll uncover the hidden reasons why your scalable offer isn't selling and walk away with the exact shifts to finally attract consistent dream clients. And so I would love for this session to be interactive. So feel free to ask any questions as we go. And then as we go through a couple of little key activities to help support you with the 3 strategic shifts, keep making notes. And if you have questions afterwards, I've got the Facebook group. You can dive in there and ask questions as well. This is not a one-sided conversation. This is let's work together on this. Yeah. So this is going to support you if you are like dive into this, right? Utilize the time that we have together. And I'm going to do my best to keep it to the 75 minutes, even though when I went back through my slides this morning, I was like, oh, there's a lot. There's a lot. But I often do that because I want to give you what you need. Okay. So over the last 8 years, I've coached hundreds of women in service-based businesses in order to scale their businesses. And a lot has changed over the years, but not a lot has changed over the years. And so the reason why I share this with you is because you might be like, well, who am I for you to listen to, right? So I want to share with you a little bit of my business journey because it helps you see that I'm not just talking the talk, I'm walking the walk, right? I'm putting everything that I'm teaching you in today into my business. And I'm also the levels of businesses that I've worked with and the different types of industries that I've worked with is so broad, all in service based, I must say, but it's so broad. And I love that. I love that I get to work with so many different types of businesses. And that is because I am not a cookie cutter coach. I'm not going to teach you one specific strategy. I'm not going to teach you the way that I do business because I want to find out a way that's going to work well for you because you are unique and you are different to me. And so even though like I love running workshops, I love running live events, I love speaking from stage, that may want to make you want to vomit in your mouth. And that's okay, right? And I would never, I'm not the type of coach that's going to be like, this is the specific strategy you have to follow. And if you don't do it, then you can't work with me. Like that's bullshit. I am all about personalizing and customizing your strategy because it's got to work for you and you've got to want to do it. If you don't want to do it, you are going to sabotage it until the cows come home and you're never going to feel like you're going to get ahead because you're going to keep comparing yourself to other people and being like, well, why can't I be as confident as her? Or why can't I do what she's doing? Because she's not you. Right? And you're not her. So you've got to find a way that really works well for you. So over the years, worked with so many different types of industries and all different service-based businesses. And I absolutely just love the women that I attract. The women that I get to work with are so phenomenal. They really care about connection. They care about supporting each other. They care about lifting each other up. And they care about impact. They really want to make a positive impact in the world. And so over the past 6 years, so I've been in business 8 years, but over the past 6, I've run lots of different programs. So I've run group programs, masterminds, retreats, events, and there's a theme there. I love to bring women together. Love to bring women together. And the reason why that's so important to me is because one, I love connection. You can tell I love to talk. And then also I love to see what happens when we bring women together because women lift each other up, they support each other. And there's 2 things that happen in groups that I find is so freaking valuable, especially in the stage of growth, when we're scaling, when we're working through when we're working through putting things into place in our business and we're striving for more. We need to see 2 things. One, we need a representation of what's possible. And if we don't have that in our everyday lives, it's fine. It feels very hard to work towards something we don't know is possible for ourselves, or we don't have a representation of it. 2, we need to be seen and heard in our own struggles, right? So what I love about the groups that I run is that there's always opportunities where women are like, this is the challenge that I have right now. This is where I'm struggling. And someone else being like, yes, oh my God, thank you for saying that. I experienced that too. We need to be seen and heard in that because scaling a business is fucking hard. It takes a lot of work and a lot of intention, a lot of strategy and being really strategic. And you've got to be the one backing yourself every step of the way, right? And when you're surrounding yourself with other women doing the same thing, it's much easier to really even just acknowledge like, hey, yeah, it's okay that it's hard because we're doing things that other people don't do, right? And we're doing things that other people haven't done in our world. So if we've got friends and family that don't really get what we do, it can be really hard, right? And so I love bringing women together to support that. So over the years, I've launched so many different types of programs as well. So I just want to share that with you too, because over the years, I've evolved so many of my programs, worked different frameworks, uncovered different frameworks, and really fine-tune the way that I serve my clients. From masterminds to shorter programs, I've run programs everywhere from 4 weeks to 6 weeks to 8 weeks to 12 weeks to 4 months to 6 months. I've run full day programs, full day workshops, half day workshops, 2-day conferences, full day events, just run the most recent one, Unstoppable Women. here in Brisbane, which was phenomenal. And what I've learned over this is like you've got to take the action way before you're ready. You've got to do it way before you're ready, before you have everything perfected, before you feel like it's exactly what everyone needs. It's always going to happen in the evolution of it, right? And so, what I notice in women that I work with and women in business in general is that there is an element of perfectionism, and that often slows us down. Whereas if we're willing to be a work in progress and work on developing things and work with people to develop it, who you connect with and the clients that you attract, they're going to help support the growth of what you do, right? So if you are willing to be open to that, you will learn and evolve it. And so I've developed my programs in so many different ways because of the women that I get to work with and the feedback that I get, right? And so, and I've also launched and sold programs in so many different ways. So I want to share that with you as well, because again, not a cookie cutter coach here. I've tried everything, right? From reoccurring revenue models to evergreen models to launching models to selling from stage models, like all these different types of ways. And because I'm the type of person that's like, well, I'm not going to tell someone to go do something if I've never tried it. And I also want to like share from experience, but I've also helped other people scale in different ways that is different to way that I do things in my business. Because again, I don't want to, say you have to do it one way. It's because there's so many different ways to scale a business, right? And so depending on a few different things, depending on you, your strengths, your values, what's important to you, compared to your ideal client and your industry that you're working in, it's going to be different. So we've always got to be making sure that we're evolving it for the ideal client, because they are the ones that will spend the money with you. They're the ones that actually you need to listen to, right? So I want to share that with you because I wanted to make sure that you understood like where my journey has come from, and how what I'm sharing with you today isn't just stuff that I've pulled off ChatGPT. If that makes sense. Because I just in this day and age, this is going to be so important as we go through this today. In this day and age with the age of AI, there are certain things that you're going to have to do in order for you to stand out from the crowd, because the skepticism has gone through the roof, right? Because people are already seeing all the ChatGPT captions and all the things. So people are like lacking the trust that we need in order for the people to spend money. So it's new now, but it's obviously sticking around. So we've got to make sure that we're evolving with that as well. Okay. All right. So I also want to share with you that this is not just about my business, because one, I freaking love the women that I work with, but also I get to share and support women to scale their businesses and see the results that they can create. So this is not just about me and my business. This is about the results that I create for my business owner clients. And they are incredible in the way that they take action. And they're just like you. They're just like you, are willing to give it a go, willing to step in and take the action and challenge themselves to grow. All right. So I want to share that with you because again, I want you to see that this is not just me talking about stuff that I do for my business. It's actually what I do for my clients. Cool. All right, let's dive into the 6 myths. I'm going to share with you today the 6 myths that every business owner must break through to scale. So I want you to identify whether any of these are showing up for you, and that way we can work through shifting them. All right. Myth 1, my first launch flopped, so it must be my offer. I want you to know that if that has happened to you, you are not alone. And I want you to know that as well, that it's not the offer. It's not often the offer. Okay. So one, it might be, I just want to caveat there, it might be, but often there are so many other moving parts. And when it comes to scaling a business, there are again multiple different ways for you to sell it, but there are lots of different variable moving parts when it comes to selling one to many. Very different when we're selling one to one, right? So if you're great at selling one to one, when you have those one-on-one conversations, you're at a networking event or you are chatting on the phone or over a DM and you're great one to one, but you find it really hard to translate that to one to many, then everything I'm going to go through is going to be perfect for you today. But I also want you to know, like, when this happens, we've got to go back to the drawing board, because the people who give up from here, they'll never scale their business, right? We've got to look at this as data. Our business is always giving us feedback and we can learn so much from it. I never ever dwell on the failures, and I always keep moving through to be like, what did I learn? What didn't work? What worked? What could I do better differently next time? And how can it serve the growth of my business? Because your business is always telling you data. And if we're not listening to that data, then we're most likely missing the point. And I also want you to know that failure is part of the process every step of the way. It's part of the process. So I don't ever like to use the word failure. It's more like, hey, what did we learn? What did we learn and how can we move forward here? All right. So it may not be your offer. I mean, again, caveat, might little bit be the offer, and it could be the way that you're selling the offer, or it could be your approach. It could be, there's so many moving parts, especially when moving one to many. So I'm going to go through those today. Myth number two, I'm just going to have to work harder to scale my business. I actually call bullshit on this one. When it comes to scaling beyond six figures into multi six and to seven, you actually have to simplify because your time is so incredibly important. And if you are trying to scale multiple offers at once, if you're trying just to push, push, push through, you're more likely going to end up burnt out, defeated, resentful, and just like, what's the bloody point, right? So we've got to come back to how can we be more strategic and be smarter in order for us to scale. And we're going to talk about what that will look like. Number three, my sales approach worked for one-to-one sales, so I'm just going to keep doing what I've always done. This is where people get a little bit stuck, and I want to share with you, and I'm going to dive into why that happens because it is different. It is different, and there's different questions that we don't get to actually have a conversation about if you're not speaking one-to-one with someone. If someone's just seeing your content, if someone's just seeing your sales page, someone's seeing your emails, and you don't have the opportunity to overcome the objections that they're experiencing, then we're leaving a lot of money on the table. All right. And so the approach is very different. And so if you're finding that this is where you're getting stuck of like, cool, it works easily with the one-to-one, but I'm really finding it hard to scale it, then we're going to talk about that. Okay. Whoops. Number four, hype and excitement and passion will sell it. Kind of just leads into what I was just saying. It's a very different approach when it comes to selling one to many. And there are certain things that we need to make sure that we're going through when it comes to the sales process. When someone is making a decision to invest, there is hype and excitement only get so far. And you probably see this happen, and I see this happen so much where people either ghost their launches or they sell for a very short period of time. They don't get a yes straight away and they give up too soon, or they feel like it's so much energy, so much output to go and promote something that they get exhausted with the hype and the excitement and the passion instead of focusing on what's more important, which is speaking into your messaging, making sure that you're speaking to the right clients, making sure that you are communicating the value, making sure that you are overcoming objections and you're guiding people through the sales process, right? When it comes to selling a one-to-many offer, it depends on your sales strategy, obviously. And so we're going to get, I'm not going to specifically speak to one strategy because, like I said, I'm not a cookie cutter coach. But you do need to be really clear on your ideal client so then you know who you're speaking to. Because otherwise, we can often do the same thing when we're going to launch a one-to-many offer. We're so broad in the way of who we're speaking to, and we end up trying to talk to too many people instead of speaking to one, and then that gets lost. So we're going to talk about the messaging piece in a second. Are any of these resonating with you so far? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. All right. Number five. If someone doesn't say yes straight away, they're not interested. When it comes to making a big investment, people will sit in the decision for a good period of time. And so if we give up on that first conversation, we're missing out on so much. People take time to make these decisions. And if we're not holding space for them, and if we're not really holding the vision for what we truly want and hold them through the discomfort, the emotional resistance phase, where they're umming and ahhing about whether it's the right fit for them. If we don't hold them in that and we just kind of move on to the next person, we're playing the short game instead of the long game in business for one. And two, we're missing out on a lot of money, right? And so we want to make sure that we're staying strong in the sales process to support the growth of our business. Otherwise, we will find it very hard. And so we've got to have the data from a longer period of a sales process in order for us to see what worked and what didn't, and we need to tweak it. And so that's why I always come back to the simplification of your business model is like how we get super bloody clear on what you're selling and when, and who it's for and who it's not for. So then we can actually make sure that we're maximizing what we're doing. Sorry, my cat's trying to come in. Okay, number six. This is often a myth I hear, my audience is too small. I don't believe that, there is definitely elements, and we're going to talk about the visibility piece, because when it comes to scaling, depending on your goals for your business, then your audience may be too small and we may need to focus on your visibility first. But if you've got the right ideal clients in your audience, you don't have to have a massive audience. Like I have a very successful business at only 5,500 followers on Instagram, for instance. And I think I've got, I don't know, one or 2,000 on Facebook or something. So you can absolutely have success with your one-to-many offer, but you do need to prioritize visibility because you always need to be attracting new clients into your business and new audiences. But the thing is, you need to have the right audience. You have the right people that are ready to buy, and we're going to talk about how that could possibly be a challenge, or what we're focusing on, the way that our sales messaging is that can impact that. And so you need to have the right people, and we need to prime them as well to support the decision-making process that you're selling. And So you don't necessarily have to have a massive audience, but you do need to have a sizable audience. And depending on your goals, it'll always come back to your goals. Depending on your goals, one of the biggest things that people miss out on when it comes to scaling that I wish I had known early on, right? It's not something that even got talked about when I started growing into group programs, is the conversion rates. So for you to hit 100 people, like you really need to think about how many people you need to be having conversations with and how many people you need to be reaching in order for those 100 to convert. When a majority of your audience are, there's only about 5% that are ready to buy right now. And so we need to think about that longer term nurture to support the decision making process and just in the sales process, sales timeline. We need to be considering like we're obviously attracting more clients, but we're nurturing their existing clients and then thinking about how we're nurturing people to buy in your funnel long term. And when people start to think about scaling, sometimes it can be really disheartening because it feels like it's not all happening at once. And sometimes we see the highlight reel on social media of everyone like, I'm having 100K launch. And you're like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, that's when we're like, how can we learn from that? Because there's probably a certain level of visibility and reach that that person is getting in order for you to have that conversion. So we need to consider the conversion numbers, right? And the data will tell us that. All right. Questions so far? Oops, where's my water? Which myths do you find that was showing up the most for you? I'll run through them again real quickly. Number one, my launch flopped, so it must be my offer. Number two, I have to work harder to scale my business. Number three, my sales approach worked for one-to-one, so I'll just do what I've always done. Number
what I've
four,
always done.
hype
Number four,
excitement and passion to sell it. Number five, if someone doesn't say yes straight away, they're not interested. Well, number six, my audience is too small. And whichever one you've gotten stuck in is okay. Like, no, there's no judgment here. This is just curiosity to see, like, cool, where do I need to focus my attention? Okay. Six, 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 five, five. Okay, cool. Awesome. I've got a mix of things. Yeah. Amazing. All right. I've already been doing a bit of talking this morning, so that's why I'm like drinking a whole bunch of water so I don't lose my voice. Love it, Vicky. Okay, number six. So let's dive into the strategic shifts to turn your scalable offer into a dream client magnet. And this one, you're going to need a pen and paper for. Okay. So let's just dive straight in. Number one, the messaging gap. Your scalable offer isn't selling because your message isn't landing. It's either unclear, too broad, or sounds like everyone else's. A little bit of tough love here, right? And so when it comes to the messaging, there's a few different things that we need to focus on. Number one, what I find is working right now is getting super clear and super specific. Clear, specific offers that speak directly to a specific ideal client because it is saturated out there. People are, and it's not even just saturated in your market or your type of industry. With it's saturated with content, right? When you think about the amount of content that we are consuming right now, if your messaging isn't like hitting the points and hitting the like getting cutting through that noise in a way that really hits your ideal client in the face, it's just getting completely lost, right? And it's honestly the content, the amount of content with AI now at the moment, like there's just so much content that we're and all the different channels and all the different platforms we're consuming on, we're mentally and physically exhausted with the amount that we're consuming. But if that messaging isn't hitting, then it's just getting lost. Okay. And so when you're starting to scale, we've really got to drop the hesitation of worrying that if I speak to one, I will miss out on others. Right? We can often get stuck in that in early stages of business where we're like, oh, but if I speak too closely to this ideal client, then that client won't come and work with me. That's the biggest issue. We've got to get so bloody clear, and we're going to talk about what that it looks like. Get so clear and also really specific because specific offers are what's selling right now. So specific offers with regards to what it will give people, the outcome it will create, and who it's specifically for. So then clients are like, I need that and I want that and let's go. Right? So if your offer isn't irresistible to the exact ideal client you want, it'll get overlooked, right? So there's two parts to this. One, the messaging that grabs people's attention. Secondly, if your offer then doesn't match what you're saying, people kind of go, oh, this is a mismatch, and it just gets off overlooked. Yeah. And the hard part with this is that sometimes this isn't always clear in our faces. So we're not really sure how to go and communicate it. So this is where I'm always like, get clear on it by talking more to your ideal clients. Get on the phone with them, jump on Zooms with them, get into a chat room with them, like do the research because if the messaging isn't landing, you've got to go back to the source. Who do you want it to land with? And what are they saying about the problem they're experiencing? What are they saying about the desire that they want? Yeah? Is this landing, resonating with you? Awesome. Any questions at all, please feel to jump in the chat and answer those. ask those so I can answer those. So what I'm finding is working right now is that clear specific offers that speak directly to your specific ideal client. So your offer and your messaging about that offer needs to attract and repel. Right. So often we get stuck in this. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty sure my messaging is attracting, but if it's not repelling, it's not attracting. So I really want you to think about this, like the way that you're communicating your offer, is it repelling? And feel free to jump in the chat, let me know. Do you think it is or do you think it's not? Is it repelling? Is it not repelling? If it's not repelling to some stage, to some standard, then often it's actually not attracting the right clients that we want. Yeah. And so some of my clients are getting really good at this right now, and it's so good. And this is what creates conversations. This is what gets these conversations happening in your comment section. It's what gets the DMs happening because people are like, oh, I agree with that or I don't agree with that. Yeah. And both are good. We need to have that happening. So then you're getting really clear on what your ideal client wants, right? Love it. So Tam even has identified now. It's not repelling at the moment. Cool. So move through the uncomfortable feeling that you're going to miss out on potential clients and just get really bloody clear. Get really specific and be willing to repel. So what is that? I'm going to talk about what that looks like in a second. Messaging shift number 2. Are you selling the want or the need? This is really interesting. So I see this a lot online where people, when we're in our own businesses and we're in our own heads about what it is that we do, we know what our clients need. Would that be true to say? Like we know what they need. And often they don't know what they need, right? To the extent that we can help them. And so we may be going out and selling the need, but they're over at the different bus stop going, no, I want this. And you're like, no, you need this. Come over here. And there's a complete different mismatch going on, right? They're not paying attention to what you're saying because they're over here going, no, no, I want this. Yeah, I'm going to give you examples of this. So I want you to think about like when you're communicating your offline, you're communicating what you sell. Okay, great. This is landing for you, Grace. So good. When you're communicating what you sell, are you speaking to what they want and what they're talking about, what they want? And people often avoid this because it feels a little bit uncomfortable. Or are you actually speaking too much about what you think that they need, right? Or what's actually included in what you're selling, right? So the reason why I say this is because it is much easier to sell someone something that they want. There's less convincing, there's less time when it comes to overcoming objections. If they want it, they're more likely to be interested and want to listen to what it is that you've got to offer. Whereas if you're trying to convince someone that they need something, it's a much harder and longer sales process. So, like, for instance, like if I was a leadership coach, right? People like corporations don't want leadership coaching, right? They want what that will give them. So I'm going to give you an example as well. And they might be like, no, no, I'm over here having problems with my employees not showing up to work on time. I'm having difficult conversations. I'm finding that they're being disengaged. And you're like, you need leadership coaching. They're like, no, I've got employee problems. No, they're the problem, right? So it's a mismatch. Like they're going over here talking about this and you're over here talking about that. And they're like, hang on a minute, this is not working for me, right? So yeah, I'm going to get clear on it, Tam. So great question. So this messaging shift is about focusing more on outcome-driven language, right? Because people don't buy a course or they don't buy to learn something, right? They want results and they want outcomes. They want transformations that your offer, they want the transformation your offer creates. So you want to think about how often am I talking about the outcome that my offer creates, the outcome that my program creates. And this is really challenging sometimes because sometimes our brains don't work like this, right? So we're like, and I have this happen with clients that I work with. It's like, I want you to get to the more tangible outcomes that your ideal clients truly want. And sometimes they're not even saying out loud. They're saying it in the back of their heads of like, oh, I want this. Yeah. And so I want you to think about how you're uncovering that because that's what people are buying. They're not buying what's included. So let me give you a couple of examples. People don't buy coaching, courses, skills, or support. It's not truly what they're buying, right? But they do buy increased income, a solved problem, better business results, or specific outcomes. Right? I'm going to give you a further example of this, but I'm just trying to help your brain see the difference, right? Whereas often when we're selling, we're going, oh, you get this many coaching sessions, or this is my coaching package, or this is my course that I'm selling, or these are the skills that you can learn, right? Or that you can invest in this type of support. But that's not what people are wanting. They want employees to be engaged and improving the bottom line of the company. They want the increased income. They want to hit the 20K, 30K, 40K, 50K months, right? They want to no longer have that problem. They want to feel like they've got the freedom. They want to feel like they've got the space and the time to be able to have flexibility in their lives. They want to be able to have hit new business milestones. They want to be awarded and recognized, right? Like, what are the outcomes they truly want when it comes to your type of offering? Right? They want to feel financially secure. They want to have money in the bank to spend on things that they're really happy, they want, sorry, that they are excited to spend money on, right? They don't want the stress anymore, but they want to feel financially free, right? Do you know what I mean? Like starting to think about like, what are the outcomes and results that your offer or program, or even just what it is that your clients talk about what they want. And if you haven't asked that question, go back and ask that question because we need it in their language. Because often when we're in our own heads in our own business, where our language has evolved into the need. And so you're talking one language and they're talking a different language and it's complete mismatch. Does that make sense? Awesome. Any questions? I'm going to give you a further example. Okay. So clients don't buy a mastermind or coaching is another example. They buy, sorry, I was supposed to say hit, not hot. I mean, yeah, we all want hot, hot 40K and 50K months. They want to become the go-to person in their industry where clients come to them rather than you chasing them. They want the strategy to get them to the result faster, right? Same thing with strategy. They don't buy strategy, they buy what the strategy gives them. They're going to get to the result faster. They want the leverage to take the action, right? So that's another thing with when it comes to coaching, often people don't think is that the cost, it's actually like when people invest in coaching, they're actually investing in the cost of inaction. So what I mean by that is that if they don't make a change, they won't get to where they want to be. So what it will cost them if they don't invest now, where will they be in 6 months' time if they don't invest now? So we've got to get really clear on what those outcomes are or won't be. The outcomes will be or won't be based on whether they say yes or no, right? And so yes, we can often talk about ROI. I'm sure you've heard of the term ROI, return on investment. So yes, sometimes that's the case with depending on the type of service that you offer, but often it's sometimes actually the cost of inaction as well. Okay, cost of not investing. So we want you to think about, even if you want to put any examples in the chat of like what would be outcome-driven language for your type of offer, and I can give you any feedback on that as well if you like. Okay. All right. Messaging shift number 3, certainty versus vagueness. Vagueness will never win. Vegas will never cut through. You will never sell out a program or an offer or event if your offer is vague, if your messaging is vague. And this is where people get really stuck in the fluffy language, or even like I'm seeing as well with people using ChatGPT way too much before they use their own brain. Like you should know your business way better than ChatGPT. And so, and your ideal client, you should know them way better than ChatGPT does. And so often what happens is that spurts out this vagueness that's fluffy and it sounds elaborate, it sounds amazing, but it says fucking nothing. Does that make sense? Have you seen this before? Where you're just like, oh, that's all these beautiful words, but what the fuck does it actually mean? And so the more clearer you can get on this and the more specific you can be, the easier it is to convert. Yeah, I love it. I love that it annoys you. It should fucking annoy you. Amazing. So we need to get clear on your promise statement because if you're not certain on what you're promising, then you're most likely not promising anything. And this again feels uncomfortable depending on your type of industry and your offering and what you actually deliver. This can feel a little bit uncomfortable if you haven't really determined the viability of your framework. Okay. So I love to help my clients really unlock their framework and create a really unique framework so that it stands out from the crowd and helps their ideal client see why they should invest in you versus someone else. And then communicating that framework is part of your promise statement, and communicating the results, the outcomes, and what the expectations are from your offer are part of your promise statement. So if you're not communicating that, people are like, well, how can I trust what you're not promising? Does that make sense? So we need to make sure that we're confident in communicating with certainty what they can expect and the outcomes that they can expect and what you're promising so they feel safe in their investment. Because when it comes to any form of uncertainty in the world and anything from world events, economy shifting, cost of living, right through to like even just market shifting, messaging shifting, AI coming into play, it creates a level of uncertainty, right? When there's change. And so if your ideal client is experiencing any form of that, any form of those things happening for their lives, which a majority of people are, we want to go, well, how am I communicating with more certainty and less vagueness? Certainty will win over everything, and it will help you develop a level of confidence in what it is you deliver. Now, you may need to go back to your business and figure out what can I promise and what can I absolutely promise with certainty, because sometimes it's not money, right? Because sometimes like it's like, oh, well, I can promise that you can hit 10K, 20K, 50K months, right? If that feels uncomfortable for you, we want to go back to your framework and have you gone back and had enough people go through your framework in order for you to be like confident in what you're selling? Or do you need to fix the framework? Or do you need to actually get really clear on what you can deliver versus what you can't deliver? Yeah. So it doesn't always have to be money, but you want to think about the language of value, right? Your ideal clients want value. At the end of the day, that's what people buy, value. So in the world, the way that value is talked about is time, money, and energy. Another way to put energy would be effort. So if your communication of your promise statement doesn't include one of those, you're most likely not certain enough and it's not really landing for your ideal client to be like, fuck, I really do want that. I really need that. Yeah. So they're not going to pay attention to it because it's like, oh, I'll go to someone else that's more certain. I'll go to someone else that's more confident because certainty and confidence are on the same level. Yeah. Um, okay. Grace said outcome, improve profitability and more informed financial decision making. I would even go one step further. What would that give them? Would that give them a financial edge to be able to invest in things like well in advance? Would it give them the ability to apply for, I don't know, like to expand their businesses in different areas, right? Like if they've got more profitability, they've got more things to invest in. Because people like the idea of profitability, but what they really want, they want money in their bank account, right? They want the overseas holiday. They want the freedom. They want the time freedom. They want the creative freedom. If you're specific around business owners, right? So like you want to think about like how you're going beyond the language that your industry uses,
Right.
right? Because I know, like you know money, so you're like improve profitability sounds good, but for what? Take it one step further, and the ideal clients will be like, oh, I want that. Because you want to think about as well, like your industry, they talk about it all the time. So if you can try to cut through the noise of like, well, they're saying this, how can I say it differently? So then my ideal client pays attention. And what is she saying or he saying to themselves at home when they're looking at their profit and loss, when they're looking at their business financials? What are they saying to themselves and what are they truly wanting? If you can go beyond that, it'll cut through the noise.
Okay.
Love it.
Thank you.
Hope that helps.
Thanks.
Michelle said more outcome, more time with family and less energy into your business without compromising value or income. That's actually really good. Really good, Michelle. I love that. Um, and so again, I'd probably go one step further. When you say compromising value, what would that be in their language? I would just probably, yeah, fine tune that for their language because that way that might resonate a little bit more with them. Yeah, because they might not be in their own worlds about going like, I don't want to compromise my value, but I do not want to compromise my integrity. Do I not want to compromise my client results? Like, what does that mean? Yeah, cool. So that's what I mean by specific language, because often we're getting too vague with using our terminology in our business, or we're literally just trying to stay within industry, or we're saying what everyone thinks is nice, but it's actually not cutting through the noise. Okay. All right. You know what? I haven't even put my watch on, so I don't even know what bloody time it is. Let me just grab my phone. I want to make sure I stay on time. Okay, cool. So, number two, the authority deficit. If we're going to scale, your authority matters. If you want to be someone that is the go-to person in your industry, if you want people to stand up and pay attention to you, if you want people to if you want to develop a fan base, if you want people to be like referring you and sending clients to you, your authority matters. Because even if your offer is great, people won't buy if they don't see that you are the go-to authority, and they're not going to search for that in your about page. I want that to land. They're not going to go looking for why they should trust you in your about page. It's a nice thing to have, but if you're not utilizing your authority effectively on a regular basis, people are like, oh, I didn't even know you did that, right? They just don't know why they should pay attention to you. And because of social media moving so fast, we're missing out on so many opportunities for you to be the authority in your space. So let's talk about your expert positioning. If the word expert feels uncomfortable, I want you just to let yourself stretch a little bit because you should be willing to be seen as the expert in your industry, in your space, even for your ideal client, right? So I want you to ask yourself, what makes you the best person to serve your specific ideal clients? What makes, and you pop it in the chat if you like. What makes you the best person to serve your specific ideal clients? And now, some of the things I share with you at the beginning of this masterclass, because I'm creative like that, and I want to share it with you to show you examples of what that could look like. What were some of the things that I shared? Rack your brains. So funny. So, what makes you the best person? And sometimes the brain will be like, I'm not the best person, but you need to believe that you are, right? Absolutely believe that you deserve to be the best person to serve your ideal clients because you care about them and you want to help them. Grace said the things that you've done. Yeah, absolutely. So it could be your experience, it could be your education. I'm going to dive into a whole bunch of them today. But the first question, though, is yeah, love that, Michelle. Proven results with previous clients. Exactly, right? That builds trust. Exactly. And I even share with you my qualifications. Do you remember right at the beginning? All right, share with my qualifications, my education, my background. Yeah. Amanda said, I genuinely care and have the training and proven outcomes. Yes, 1000%. Love that. So then my question is, how often are you talking about this? And are your ideal clients aware of it? Yeah. Because sometimes we don't, we shy away from this. And this is actually one of the things when it comes to scaling, especially selling one-to-many offers, your expert positioning is so incredibly important because people need to trust you not before they talk to you, right? And so if that's not happening, then either your sales calls are really not converting as well as you would like them to be, or your sales pages aren't because people aren't even looking at the sales page because they don't trust you just yet. Yeah. So yeah, probably not enough, Vicky. Exactly. It almost like you need to feel like you're annoying. Like you need to feel like you're talking about yourself a lot all the time. Even though, but you're wanting to approach it. And I want to say this lightly because like I don't want it to be annoying. Like I want it to be positioning you as the go-to person in your industry so then people stand up and pay attention. So at my recent event, Unstoppable Women, I spoke about this when I was talking to the panel and I asked them previously to share their bios with me. And I said to them, so a couple of them send their bios and I said, you need to redo this bio because I know there is so much more amazing things that you've done that need to be a part of your bio in order for me to feel comfortable sharing with the rest of the room why they should listen to you. And I sent them back because I was like, I know you've won awards. I know that you have got 20 years experience in your business. I know that you have got certain results. I know that you have a certain level of experience, education, all these types of things. There's a reason why we share it on a regular basis is because it builds trust, right? And so we need to be always building authority. Because if we are not building trust, then clients aren't paying attention to what you're saying, and people aren't going to look and search for reasons why they should trust you. And so we need to move away from doing so much educational content. Well, I mean, you still need educational content, but we need to weave in your authority with the educational content. And then they're like, oh, now I understand and I'm paying attention to you and I want to trust you and I want to learn from you because you've achieved these things and you've overcome these challenges and you now have this experience and I want that too. Yeah. So why should they trust you? Why should they want to learn from you? The more that you can weave this into your content, and this has got to be part of everything from your sales pages, your emails, your content, your long form content, your videos. And one of the, I also share this at the event. One of the things Americans do really well is they weave this into what they do. If you notice any Americans that you follow online, right, on socials, not everyone does it, but some do, and I love it, is that they'll grab a hook with their video and they'll get your attention. And then they'll be like, hey, I'm Christine, I'm a high ticket sales coach, and I help women in business scale their businesses to multi seven figures. So, like, they're saying what they do, and then they might even add in. And I've got 6.5 years in global retail space, and I've also worked on training sales teams and sales psychology. Like, they'll weave in other parts, and it makes you go, oh, okay. And now I want to listen to what you're going to say next. Yeah. So it takes your content to be authority-based content rather than just extra noise. So we need to think about how you're weaving that through. So here's a few different things that you can add to start building authority. Your experience, right? So at the beginning of those sessions, remember I said, like, I've been in business for 8 years, and also for the past 6 years, I've been running group programs, right? So it could be experience, it could be your expertise. I was talking about how I was in global retail brand for 6.5 years in sales, and I ended up training sales teams, especially in the human behavior space, and was teaching them the sales psychology piece, but with the mindset side. So I didn't go into it to too much depth, but like you can take it to that next stage, right? Your education, I share with you my qualifications and why that mattered. It could be specialization. So if you're really a specialization in your specific area, you want to think about like how and why that matters to your ideal client. So like you wouldn't go to get brain surgery from a general practitioner versus a brain surgeon, right? So you want to think about how you're weaving that through. Or it could be who else trusts you, like who you've worked with in the past. It could be brands that you've worked with, brands that have trusted you. It could be places that your network. Again, we spoke about this before. I think Michelle popped in the chat, the results and the outcomes. It could be other areas where you've received certain mentions with PR. It could be awards. It could be certain features that you've gotten. It could be the amount of impact that you make, right? I love sharing with, I've worked with like hundreds and hundreds of clients in my business over the last 8 years, right? So you want to think about like, how can you look at the data of your business and pull that? Like I do that on a regular basis to be like, oh, that's cool. I just hit this many people, and this is how many people I have now on my email list, and this is how many people I'm reaching with my content. Like you're starting to think about how you're getting the data from your business and weaving it into your content so that people pay attention. Lastly, here is your networks. So developing, because people trust by association as well. So if they see you with certain people or you're connected with certain people, and if they've got trust with them, they're more likely to trust you. And you will see this around collaborations a lot, right? So you want to think about who does your ideal client trust and who can you connect with that will also develop extreme trust with you. It could be sharing your challenges and breakthroughs, like how you've overcome challenges they've had in the past. It builds trust because it makes them feel like they can relate to you and builds a deeper level of connection with you. Consistency. I know not everyone likes that C word, but it's one of the things that builds reliability and trust. So you want to think about how you're consistent with certain things. Like I know with my podcast, absolutely every single week I'll have 2 episodes go out every week. I'm not ever not doing that, right? I might even increase it to 3. Like starting to think about like what consistency and where are you building trust with your audience? And last piece is embodiment. The embodiment is a whole other concept, and it's about your identity and how you're fully walking your walk and how you're embodying it, showing your ideal client that. And I actually decided when I was putting this masterclass together, I actually have created a whole new masterclass next week. And I'm running a whole new one. I'm going to share it with you at the end. A whole new one next week, which is going to be all about the embodiment, the identity, and the mindset side that happens when you're starting to become unapologetically ambitious, right? And who you need to become in the process to step into your next level. Yeah, 3 episodes. I know it's going to be super fun, but it helps with the algorithm. All right. So that brings me then to why you? Why you? Why you? What do you stand for? And what's your opinion? So this is like diving into more personal brand elements, okay? Because personal brand is important when it comes to scaling, and you might have a brand specifically to your business, which is great. And again, there's still important questions to ask. What are the opinions of the company? What does the company stand for? And how you're sharing it regularly, because people need to really relate to that. And this is also how you repel, right? So when you start to go to what your opinion is, even versus what you disagree with. I love this question because it helps you really see what's important to you and what you stand for, but it also helps you really think about like, cool, how could I cut through the noise and how can I be different? Ask yourself, what do you disagree with in your industry? What do you disagree with in the way that other people are working with your types of clients? What do you disagree with in certain people's frameworks? And you don't have to judge other people or throw shade, but you can just share like what's unique to you and what you do differently, right? Because, like for instance, like one of the things that I disagree with is the lack of access to a coach when you sign up for a program. The amount of times where I hear people have been burned in the past where they've signed up for a group program or a coaching program and they did not get direct access to the coach. Yeah, they had like one call a month where you can ask one question, you had to submit the question beforehand, you never actually got to talk to them. And I'm like, what? Like, how are they helping you with your business if you can't talk to them and ask them a damn question? And so one of my things is so important. That's so important to me. Like, that's why I include one-on-one coaching as well as daily access to me via my communities, where you can literally voice note message me and I can voice note you back. And I actually saw one of my mentors the other day sharing on her social. She's like, if you see coaches jumping on stories saying how they're at the beach or they're traveling here and they're doing all these things, but they're never at their desk, you've got to wonder why. Like, you want to think, are they actually supporting their clients? Because if they're not there in it with you, how are they helping you? So I really want you to think about like anything that you disagree with, that frustrates you, that rubs you the wrong way. There's a reason for that because it's important to you, and it might help you develop a different form of your personal brand that will help you stand out and get people to pay attention. Because as you're scaling, you're building your personal brand, like you are. And as much as you're building awareness for your brand, you want to think about what is your personal brand going to be known for? If you really want to think about that, and it doesn't have to be about sharing your whole life. That's not it at all. You can absolutely develop your own persona around it and what you want your personal brand to be known for and what will really resonate with your ideal client. because this will help support the selling of your offers. Because when people trust you, they want to buy from you. Yeah. When people relate to your personal brand, they want to buy from you. Is this resonating? Awesome. Okay. Focus number three. The strategy problem. Now, the strategy problem, obviously, I work with my clients over a longer period of time, and I only got an hour with you. So I'm going to do my best to touch on the core things when it comes to strategy. But again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the session, I'm not a cookie cutter coach. So I'm not going to give you one specific strategy here. I'm going to talk about core areas of the strategy that could be a problem that I want you to start to identify, whether it's happening for you. And then we can have further conversations as well. But it would be a disservice to you if I was like, here's one strategy, and this is exactly what you should be doing, because everyone's business is different. That would be so unethical of me. So I'm not going to do that. But I am going to highlight some core areas that may be a problem. Okay. Because if you're either winging it with no real plan, or if you're following the wrong strategy for your stage of business, this is what could be showing up for you. Firstly, when you're scaling, visibility is paramount. You must be getting visibility on a regular basis. The amount of people that I talk to, when I ask them, what are some of the activities that they're doing in order to attract new clients? They talk to me all about nurture activities. Oh, I send emails to my email list, and I post on my social media, and I go to networking events. Cool. They're usually all to the people that you already know. If we're not actively learning to gain more visibility for you to be seen as the authority in your space, you're not attracting enough people. And numbers, when you're scaling, matter. Your data matters. Because if you want to scale, you need more people. You need more eyes on your business in order for you to convert more people. And not everyone is going to convert. So we need to increase your numbers. And lastly, there, your strategy. Your strategy is key. And again, with all the women that I work with, we see missing parts of, we skip parts because I know you're busy. Like I know you're freaking busy. And so we want to simplify in order to scale. And we want to get clear on what your strategy is to convert more people. Because otherwise, if there's missing parts, then it most likely will then end up not getting you the results that you're really hoping for. So visibility is all about attracting, right? And your data is about testing. Really great CEOs that are scaling their business, they are looking at the data and they're testing and measuring and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and pay attention to what your data is telling you. And lastly, conversion, right? If you don't have a strategy in place in order to convert the eyes that you're attracting, then often it feels like it's fruitless, right? Because we're doing all of this work to get the visibility into nurture, but if we haven't got the conversion piece right, we're kind of like still feel like we're running on a treadmill and it's not really gaining traction. All right. So again, I'm not giving you full strategy, giving you highlights of what could be happening. So we all understand what a funnel is, right? A funnel is where we're attracting new people, we're guiding them through the decision-making process, we're nurturing them, we're building trust and credibility, we're hopefully guiding them to consideration and conversion, and then we're hopefully retaining those clients, right? And so we understand a marketing funnel or a sales funnel, and often what happens is we don't understand the difference between marketing and sales. Marketing is not sales. Marketing is getting the eyes and getting the brand awareness. Sales is taking those eyes, getting them interested in what it is that we sell, guiding them into the next step, nurturing them, building trust and credibility, and then building them into the next phase of whether they need what it is that you sell in order to then convert them, right? So we need to be building on this. And like I said before, only 5% of your audience is ready to buy right now. So we want to play the long game. We want to make sure that every part of your funnel is working for you and that everything you're doing within your business is actually working with one core goal. A lot of the women that I have come into my masterminds and working with me is we find that there's so many things that we're doing and we're throwing things out there and we're hoping it works, but we haven't strategically thought about how does that work for the next piece of the puzzle. So we want to get more strategic. Otherwise, you're going to get very exhausted. Okay. So just to touch on this really quickly, right? So attract is your marketing. It's a visibility piece. Interest and brand awareness is again, marketing. But then once they're further down in the funnel, they're paying attention to more of what it is that you're doing. We want to nurture them to get ready to buy. We want to build trust and credibility. So when there is an offer made, they already have trust with you. Yeah. Then we want to guide them into consideration. So that's where it's like, do you have this problem? Do you want this desire? Would you like to then take the next step with me? And then we guide them to the next piece before we then make an offer. Then we convert. And then ideally we have something within our offer suite that actually supports the retention of the client as well, right? And that's going to be different for every type of business. So firstly, how are we solving our dream clients' problems first? Audiences need warming up. You need to be priming people before you ask them to spend money with you. We need to build trust before you sell. And often what I see is that we either haven't nurtured the right audience in order to get ready to buy, or we haven't given enough value yet. And so I'm going to talk about lead gen in a second because so much has changed. And again, all the conversations I've had regularly, it's like lead gen has almost taken a backseat. And if you want to build trust with your ideal clients, you want to give them wins. You want to give them value. You want to give your best stuff. Like imagine if I came on here and said, and like literally gave you like three core steps and went, I'm not going to give you the meat of it. Like you would walk away being like, well, that was fucking waste of time. Like you've got to really respect your people's time. So you want to think about how you're giving people more, and that's when they're going to build trust and see the value in working with you. So your ecosystem needs to be working in all forms together. Actually, I might touch on that next. So lead gen, right? When it comes to lead gen, so much has changed. People, because of AI, people know how to get the answers to the questions really fast. So if your lead magnets or way that you're building your list is not solving tangible problems, it's often stuff that people don't want anymore. Or if you've got lead magnets that you haven't updated, if you haven't created a new one in the last 3 months. So I was chatting to one of my beautiful speakers at my most recent event, and I said to her, like, she creates stuff all the time, and I absolutely love it. And I'm like, how often are you creating new lead magnets? And she's like, monthly, new lead magnets to promote monthly. And I was like, holy crap, really? She's like, yeah, because now with AI, we can build them out much faster. But she's like, I'm still listening to my ideal clients and I'm creating what it is that they want. I'm asking them, getting them involved in the conversation, like, cool, I can create that. So you want to think about how you're solving tangible problems and you're giving the best of your stuff, and you want to give your people a positive outcome, right? Because so gone are the days where we can be like, create a 23-page guide. No one wants a guide anymore, or a checklist. We want what the checklist will give us, right? So we really want to take it to the next step and be like, how can I create something that's really valuable that people truly want? Because then they're willing to part with their email address because they know, especially if you work with business owners, if you are in the space where you work with business owners, they know that you are going to be emailing them. So they are going to be like so carefully protecting their email address. And I don't know if you're like me, you have like probably 4 or 5 different email addresses. Like even your one that you send all the spam to, you're still protecting your email addresses. So you want to make sure that you're giving something of really cool, amazing outcome that they're like, I want that. And it's got to be the want, not the need. We've got to go away from trying to solve too big of things and just solve one small specific problem and give it to them quick and easy done. People are so overwhelmed. They're so like, again, exhausted with the consumption of how much information they're digesting that they don't want anything too convoluted and too big, but they want it valuable, right? Now, the second piece of this when it comes to scaling, once you have that lead magnet, it must then also overcome an objection or move them closer to working with you and needing your offer, right? So if it's not doing that, it's useless. It's not serving the growth of your business because all roads should lead to your offer, right? And if you've got multiple different offers going on at one time, then we need to simplify that to begin with. But they all should lead, right? So then your ecosystem is all working together. Your visibility, your socials, your long form content, your personal brand, your network, your PR and your awards, your website, they're all going to the one place. We're all working together. And often what I see is this is a jumbled mess and nothing is connecting. So we've got to get really clear on how it's all working together. And if you haven't created a new lead magnet recently, it's time to go create a new one because it's most likely what people are craving or they're wanting from you. But if you're finding sales really challenging, it's supposed to close because we're not taking them to the next step. So what I'm seeing now, what's working at the moment is built out stronger funnels where we're not just going from lead magnet to sale, right? We're lead magnet to maybe another lead magnet that solves another problem, to then a lower ticket offer that solves another problem, to then a sellable offer, a higher ticket offer, right? People are wanting more trust and want to see more value from you before they're ready to invest in the next step. Make sense? All right. So audiences need to be warmed up. We need to be primed to make sure that you're actually speaking to the right audience, because if you've been building a certain audience in one direction and then you start to create a whole new offer, sometimes it takes a bit of time to then make sure that you've got your ideal client in that audience. So for instance, like I have worked with women in business for ages, right? And so there was a stage of my business probably like 3 years ago where I was like, I had work with so many beautiful ladies that were working beyond six figures. So they hit six figures with me and they're just beyond six figures. And then they were like, what else can we do with you? And I was like, oh, I've been thinking about a new offer. And that's when I actually first created my first mastermind. And um, is your mic on mute? It's not on mute. Okay, I'll check it. All good, Vicky. And yeah, so I was working towards this new offer in the background, but I hadn't told anyone yet. And I ran a retreat, and these beautiful ladies were like, "What else can we do with you? We want to keep this fun going." And I was like, "Oh, I've actually been thinking about a mastermind." And they were like, "Yes." And I was like, "Great. What do you want? What do you need? What support would you like?" And I developed a mastermind to work with women in business that are working towards multi six figures, right? And so that came through the evolution of supporting them. But what I noticed once I worked with that group of women, I couldn't just go and sell it, right? Because my audience, I had been working towards women who were wanting to earn 10K months. So it was a earlier stage group of women that were in my audience. So I actually had to go through a period of time of developing my audience at the next stage, right? Before I was then ready to sell the next level mastermind again. So you just want to think about like, is there something there that you need to like develop your audience first before you can, and then deliver value to them first before you then go and sell. Yeah. Okay. Success takes work, and I know we're doing so many things all at once. So my next thought for you is how can you simplify? Because if you think about all the successful people that you even follow online, how many things are they selling? They're usually selling like one thing. Now they're selling other things behind the scenes, but they're selling one core thing that they're known for that then attracts the right clients, and then they can always then guide them to the next things within their business, right? Once they're in the ecosystem. But we want to simplify before we then go too hard with selling multiple different things at once, right? Because that's just going to exhaust you and burn you the hell out. So, what do you feel is missing with the conversations that we've had today? What do you feel is currently missing? You need to work on your messaging. Is it authority that's missing, or is it strategy? I'd love for you to jump in the chat and let me know. Cool. Strategy, authority and strategy, messaging and strategy. Cool. This is so good. I'm so glad that you're getting some really cool ideas into what needs to focus on next. Amazing. All right. So let's talk about what to do from here on out. So the three things that I like, we've talked about these three things. One of the things that I haven't touched on just yet, which I'm going to actually talk about in next week's masterclass, is really the person that you're being within your business. Because when I go through all of this, it might feel like, oh my gosh, this is a lot, right? But if you are being the operator in your business versus the CEO, it will absolutely feel like a lot. Because if you're looking at all this and think, I'm going to have to do all of this myself, if that is like, yes, that's you, we want to think about where are you spending your time for best results? Because as the CEO, we need to be across all of these things, but you don't necessarily always need to be implementing all of these things. And we need to make sure that we're acting and being the CEO of our business, right? Because that's what's going to actually drive the results further. And that's where we can often get stuck in the weeds. So if we're still in the operator's shoes and you're still transitioning from one to one and doing all the work in your business, it might be then time to think about like expanding, because where are you currently spending your time? So when you think about what to focus on next, where are you losing time? Because these are the things that are going to help move the needle in your business. So they need to be spent on, they need time to be spent on them. And if we don't have the time currently, we want to carve out the time to make it a priority, because we know that those three things are going to make a huge difference as you start to take your business to the next level. But if we don't have the time just yet, we want to think about like, where am I spending my time and how can I start to shift and change the way that I'm spending it on the right things? Because when it comes to growing and scaling your business, there are three core areas you need to be focused on as a CEO: your sales activities, money generating activities, right? Your visibility activities, and your growth focused activities. So if we don't have those clear and what we're spending our time on, we end up being stuck in the operator's shoes of just doing things we've always done, and we end up creating the same results again and again, right? So carve out that time to spend it on here, because otherwise you'll find that you just won't make the progress that you really want to. And if you're thinking like, okay, Christine, this has been great, but it feels like a lot. It is a lot. And that's why not everyone scales to multi six figures, and that's okay. So whatever feels right for you is right for you. But if you do want to scale to multi six figures into seven, we're going to have to be okay with being stretched. We're going to have to be okay with recognizing that that feels like I'm at the edge of my capacity and that I feel a bit overwhelmed. But overwhelm is part of your expansion. It feels overwhelming because it's things that you're learning and we need to get better at, right? So it's part of your process of expansion. You're currently comfortable only in your comfort zone, doing the things you've only ever done before. right? So if any of this is like, oh gosh, I've never done this before. Like for instance, like as part of my authority, I now share that I'm a number one best-selling author for my book that went bestseller in May. But the first month of that happening, I felt super uncomfortable talking about it. I was like, this didn't feel like me. I felt like I was being boastful. I felt like I was being full of myself, right? Until I said it enough times that it become natural now. It's like part of course it is. It's true, right? And so when I talk about the book, I can talk about it. It doesn't feel uncomfortable. It's just natural. Like as we're starting to expand and do things we've never done before, you're going to have to stretch yourself, and it feels overwhelming and uncomfortable just to begin with. Okay. The other reason why it can feel like a lot is again, if we're just being the operator in our business, or if you're trying to do it alone. Doing it alone and scaling alone is really fucking hard. And that's why I always surround myself with incredible people doing amazing things. And I'm always a part of a program, a part of a mastermind, a part of coaching in some way, shape, or form, because I know I need that support, because doing it on your own is really hard. Scaling means that you're going to need to get more strategic. And so that's sometimes easier when someone's helping you see the trees for the woods, right? Like it's actually helping you focus on what's the important things. And we need to get clear on like what's actually going to move the needle in our business. And when we're in it on our own, looking at our own stuff, it's very hard for us to be like, what am I supposed to focus on? What do I need to do next? Right? So for you to continue to scale, we need to start to think about how we're working smarter, not harder, right? So when your brain goes like, oh, I've got to keep working harder, I want you to start asking yourself better questions and be like, no, how can I be smarter here? How can I reach more people here instead of starting to work my guts out trying to just serve the people that I have, right? What can I do differently that's going to help me expand my goals? So like I often say to my clients, like, write your goals down, write down your next level goals, and then let's 10 times them, not for the intention of going for the 10 times, but just to start to unlock new actions that maybe you have never done before that could fast track your results, because you end up doing mediocre action versus next level action, right? But that's also where the fear shows up, right? Because if we were comfortable doing those next level actions, we would have done them already. But that's absolutely where the fear shows up. And having a coach that will support you every step of the way to unlock that fear and help you move through the fear is what's going to change the game, right? So really thinking about what's your next level and what do you need to take it to that what do you need to support you in getting there. So today, I know I'm not going over time. I'm on time. Okay. So today I've shown you that to scale to multi 6 or 7 figures, you're going to need to, one, simplify your focus, get more strategic with at least one specific offer, upgrade your messaging so it lands and sells, claim your authority so your dream clients are attracted to you, but pay attention to you. You need to pay attention to the data and tweak your approach, right? If you haven't been paying attention to your data, then sometimes you could, again, working harder, not smarter. And lastly, upgrade your strategy and sales funnel to support the conversions. So you'd imagine putting all of these 3 things in place, what would that mean for you in your business? What would it mean to have a business that supports your lifestyle, allowing you to earn good money and have the freedom and flexibility that you want for your life? To be the go-to person in your industry, so you're sought after with people reaching out to work for you rather than you chasing them. To be seen as a leader in your space and have incredible opportunities hitting your inbox on the regular. To have your course, services, or programs selling out faster and making a positive impact on the people that you really love helping. To feel rock solid in your direction, have a clear plan to scale your business with ease, knowing where to spend your time for best results. And lastly, feel confident in your ability to earn, manage, and circulate your money with strategic plans in place. That's what this is all about, right? I know this is what it is that you want. And we know that the strategy, authority, and the messaging are the key things that are going to get you there. So from here, I have a couple of options for you. So if you've loved what you've learned from me so far, and you would love to continue to take it to the next level, we've got a couple of options. So one, you can obviously do nothing. It's okay, fine. Continue to stress about scaling your business and work yourself into the ground, never truly seeing what you're capable of. Or 2, you can keep going it alone, waste months or years trying to create and follow a random ChatGPT strategy, or read all the business books and try to implement what on your own. Or you can allow me to coach you through my step-by-step scaling framework to scale your sales and step into your unapologetic authority era and start killing it in your industry. I'd love to take a moment just to share with you an opportunity to be a part of the next round of my high-touch 6-month mastermind for ambitious women in business who are ready to scale with strategic intention, claim their authority, and create freedom on their terms. This is my next level mastermind, which is all about scaled sales, unapologetic authority, and freedom on your terms to thrive beyond your 6 figures. In Next Level Mastermind, we focus specifically on your sales strategy, get a personalized sales approach. So then you are focused on the things that you want to do in your business, and it's going to help scale and grow your business to the next level. We focused on strategy. Like, what I love about strategy is like, let's get clear on where you should be spending your time, and next level strategic growth. So I love helping clients get clear on where they should be focusing their attention and do the needle moving activities rather than just the busy work. And the authority piece is so important when it comes to scaling, right? Your authority is what's going to help people trust you, and it's going to help people then spend money with you. So we've got to spend some really detailed time on that. And lastly, your embodied CEO leadership, how you step into being the leader, seeing yourself as the leader, but then also lead your business in a way that's going to support the growth. So looking at that data, paying attention to where you're spending your time, making sure that you're prioritizing your growth focused activities. All of those things help build the next stage of your business. So this is where we have access to one-on-one coaching and mindset upgrades. You get access to I'll develop and personalize your custom 12-month sales strategy with quarterly focuses. So you know exactly where to spend your time on for best results, building in sales systems and building out that funnel. So then you are actually nurturing and building that conversion. You'll have group masterminding with ambitious women in business. We have an in-person event, dinner and photo shoot in November, and it's a supportive 6-month journey. So here's what to expect. We do bi-monthly coaching calls, which are business coaching calls where I'm working with you and partnering with you in your business. So I keep this an intimate group. So I'm talking with every single person on that call and working on what you need to move forward on. In the beginning of the mastermind, we do a one-on-one coaching call where I map out your roadmap on what you're going to focus on, what your scaling strategy is. And so then I am across everything in your business and we know what you're working on. So then I'm doing your business coaching calls twice a month so we can see where you're at, where you're getting stuck, and keep you in momentum. You'll get access to my scaled sales program. So this is a resource hub where I'm going to teach you through the sales strategy that we've been diving into today and so much more. And also with any other area of your business. So I've been building out this resource hub for years. And so any challenge that you have or anything that you're working on with those core areas that we talked about, freedom on your terms, your leadership, your sales strategy, and your unapologetic authority, I've built out specific frameworks to support you with that. And so you get access to those. You'll have access to the supportive community with ambitious women in business, my CEO millionaire mindset. So we do money mindset with it as well, because as we scale, we make more money and there comes a lot of money blocks. So we always do that as well. And then you'll have private one-on-one coaching sessions as well. So remember how I spoke about like one of my biggest gripes in the coaching industry is people are not getting access to their coach? I fucking hate that. And as an NLP trained coach, I love to work on doing the deep mindset work with you as well. So we're going to work on any self-sabotaging behaviors. We're going to work on any big mindset blocks, any limitations that are holding you back. And we do that in your private one-on-one sessions. And then we also have our in-person mastermind day, dinner and photo shoot, which will be happening on the Gold Coast in November. We start in September, so we start in a couple of weeks' time. The doors will close next Friday, and we have a welcome ceremony on the 25th of September, and we go all the way through to the end of April. And why I love this time of year specifically for this mastermind is because the next few months are going to shape 2026. So what we do now is going to determine what will happen over your Christmas New Year break and also what's going to happen in the new year. And starting the new year in a container like this will help support you to set you up for a massive 2026, which is super exciting. And we also break over Christmas. I just want to say that as well, because often as busy business owners, we're like, oh gosh, I don't want to be doing something over Christmas. I don't think so. I don't think you should. I think you should take the break because every other business owner does. And so we break for 3 weeks over Christmas. And so I extend, so even at 6 months, it's kind of like 7 because I extend it out right to the end of April. Okay.
If someone asked me about joining the mastermind, I would say hell yes. I actually put a pause between my last round of coaching and this one. And the reason for that was for integration. I prioritized my learning. I prioritized the investment. And I see that being a lifelong learner is so important. So if you are considering working with Christine, if you're struggling in the areas of mindset, sales, and stepping into your CEO shoes, then I highly, highly recommend you jumping into the Next Level Mastermind.
So this is my beautiful client, Amy, who has a company called Grounded HR, and she has innovated in a really unique way in the HR space, which I'm so excited for. And she's created a really unique opportunity for small business owners to get access to HR support in ways that the industry kind of frowned upon, because it's like it was really only available to people in high level companies that really didn't have access to that. And so for her to do this, she needed to really work on her authority. She needed to work on her sales strategy before she launched it. And she's now like, she's been up for awards recently for the HR link. And she spoke on my stage actually back in August last month. And she's been on podcast interviews. Like, she's really working on her authority at the moment, and it's really starting to impact the growth of her business, which is super exciting. So I'm going to pop the link in the chat, so feel free to check it out there. All the details are there. You will get access to all the dates straight up, so that you can pop them straight into your calendar, so there's nothing missing, so you don't miss out on anything. Now, this mastermind is for women in business, obviously, but who are ready to take it to the next level. So there's usually two types of women that join this mastermind. The visionary, that you've created or are wanting to create a scalable offer, whether that be a program, course, event, or mastermind, and it's currently not selling the way that you would want it to be selling, but you know it has potential and you're ready to refine it, scale it, and finally see it sell out with consistency. Or you're B, the powerhouse, where your business model is currently solid. You're really happy with where you're at. You've got clients, you know, you get them great results, you deliver, and you know that you're wanting to take it to the next level. You know you're capable of more, and you're wanting to stretch yourself. And so you know through that you're going to have to ditch a bit of the self-sabotage, you're going to have to get out of your own way, and you want to take it to the next level, but you're not sure what that next level looks like just yet, and that's okay. So this is for women in business that are really keen to surround themselves with other incredible women taking it to the next level. So what they both have in common is that they're ambitious, they're ready, and they know that their next level means scaled sales, unapologetic authority, and freedom on their terms.
Foundations and the business knowledge you need, but it's also done in a way that feels really genuine, heartfelt, and flexible to how you are, your lifestyle, your strengths, like anything that makes you you. It's not just a one size fits all model. So, and the support's incredible. Like, it was beyond anything I would have even imagined. Like, the way that we could jump on Slack, drop a voice note, get an answer usually within a day. And just move through things was so valuable, like moving through difficult sales conversations, difficult launches, like so many phases. I remember leaning into it to just get that support or troubleshoot an objection or a roadblock or something that was going on. And I think if you need that support and you're feeling lonely in business, or you feel like you need more direction and just someone who can really point you in that right direction and kind of guide you and give you the empowerment you need to do it, then like this is the perfect program. Also, the in-person days were amazing, and yeah, just getting to build a community with other amazing businesswomen was pretty special.
Amazing. So the total value of the Next Level Mastermind is over $54,000. And that's like not a bolstered number. It is literally, I broke down everything that's included and what you get access to. But the actual price you'll pay to scale your business with this high level support and personalized strategy is either 6 monthly payments of $1,250, which is inclusive of GST and in Australian dollars. Or if you want to pay in full, there's a full payment of $7,499, or there's also a 9-month payment plan, which brings it down to $847 a month. The link there is in the chat, and it's also this one here. Make sure it's a capital NLMM25, and it'll take you to the page with all the details. There also is a do the work money back guarantee. So if you don't feel like this mastermind or program is right for you, and you're not getting the support and accountability that you would like to take to your business to the next level, then you can email me by the end of the first month, and I'll give you your money back. The only thing that you will need to do is make sure that you attend to the calls, watch the replays, and show me that you've done the first month of the work, so I can see that I'm keeping you accountable to what you're doing, and I'm showing up to support you with what you need. This is Amy, my beautiful past client, who absolutely loved working with her. We actually expanded her offer suite because she actually wasn't serving all areas of her business, and she was missing out on so much opportunity. And so we actually expanded so many different ways of her business that she could scale it. And she took her business from, I think it was like 150K. She quite quickly took it to like 300K because of the opportunity that she had within her business. And so she created from her community, she created 2 different group programs that then was able to take her business to the next level. And then I know this is like not necessarily a theme, but she actually ended up also selling it, which is not something that I say that I do, but I want you to feel really good for you. So she actually built it up and then sold it, which is incredible. And now she's got another business. I think once you're in business, you love business. So I want to share with you also a little fast action bonus. So if you sign up by Sunday, 8 p.m., I will also share with you a bonus business review one-on-one session. So sorry. So yes, fast action bonus. If you jump in before 8 p.m., I'll give you a bonus one-on-one business review session, which will be a one-on-one call with me and also reviewing your sales strategy. Okay, so looking at every part of your business to ensure that what you're building out is going to support the growth of your business. And then there is extra bonuses. So this is all on the sign up page. You can check out the details, but you'll get access to my 30-day wealth mindset reset audio program and also my sales and money 7-day mini course, which is really awesome for if you're wanting to bring money into your business fast, right? So I had a client of mine that was part of the mastermind that had to have a 6-week break because she had a death in the family, and she came back to her business and she was like, Christine, I need to bring money in fast. And I was like, cool, go do this, and this. She did it. She brought in like $6,500 within 7 days. And she was like, oh, how did you do that? How did I do that? And I was like, oh, that's actually a really great process. So I built it into a little mini course. And so you get access to that as well. So feel free to jump across to the link and find out all the details. And then if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to jump on a one-on-one call with you and chat through your business goals and where you want to take it. And if there's anything that I can support you with, then I will share that with you. I will never sell you into a program that I don't feel is the right fit for you. And that way we can make sure it's really the right fit for everyone, so that I also want to respect the group and the people that are being a part of the group as well. So if you feel free to send me a DM on Instagram, or you can send me an email and we can chat. Otherwise, feel free to click through. The doors close next Friday, the 19th at 6 p.m. And I look forward to hopefully supporting you in the Next Level Mastermind. Thank you for listening, and if you found any value out of this episode, make sure you hit the follow button so you get access to the episodes as soon as they are live, and make sure you come hang out with me on Instagram. You can find me at ChristineCorcoran_coach. Have an incredible week.